This is at Rivera from 2 weeks ago, and as you recall, might recall, my vendor shipped the wrong capacitors for these 3 filter caps, and I really needed them because this amp was oscillating something fierce. And these 3 new caps were supposed to be here last Monday, and instead they arrived yesterday. And I was tracking them, and I watched them go from Texas to Memphis to Philadelphia to some other places around the country, just taking a little brief tour, and then back to Memphis. So, yay, FedEx. Anyway, they're installed and everything's put back together, and the amp is sounding overall pretty healthy. There's one remaining issue that I'll talk to the owner about. It has so many switch options per channel that it can be a little bit dark sounding. So here's the clean channel. Let's pull that bright out. Their bright is not terribly bright. Their non-bright is fairly dark. It's one of those things where I designing this, I might have made the default the brighter mode and offered a jazz switch to take it out or something. But, that's fine. It's working as designed. The next one is a notch, which is a mid-scoop kind of thing. And again, I think it's a little extreme, but you can play with the pots. You can find a usable sound either way. And then on the master volume, there's also something they call Ninja, which I think is a boost overdrive kind of thing. If we go to channel 1, which is the overdrive channel, or the more overdrivey voiced channel, at least, you can get overdrive out of channel 2 as well. That's where we get the issue. So here's not touch anything. And that's where the boost engaged as well. And that boost is, I haven't looked at the schematic. I don't need to track it down, but it's adding a lot of upper frequencies and harmonics that are good sounding. So, if I were using this, I'd probably keep that boost always on, but that's subjective. The issue is of all the pots and all the controls, the gain pot for channel 1 has got some areas where it cuts in and out. And once you stop turning it, it's fine. Except for some places it cuts out again. So I want to talk to the owner, and if he only ever uses the clean channel, we don't have to throw any more money at this. I have cleaned and cleaned and cleaned this defective pot. It's not just dirty contacts. The solder joints are very good. I've confirmed that. So that pot is bad, which means that this entire board has to be pulled back out to change that one pot. I will see if Rivera stocks that pot when things are PCB mounted like that, and it's fairly specialized. Sometimes it's nice if the OEM still stocks that part, then there's no problem with the footprint changing 10 years later. I don't know that the current production Alpha, etc., would fit there precisely. Like I said, there are workarounds, but let's see if we can get the exact pot first. That's if the owner wants this amp to be 100% back to new working condition. I'm not nuts about the voicing on this channel, but that's highly subjective. Other people will probably find it great. I think it's a little bit dated. Let's see if I were to turn the gain up a lot, turn the treble down a bit, bring the mids up even more, the bass up even more, get that boost engaged, keep the master low for the volume of this mic. It's certainly not bad. It's a little bit early 90s Satriani for me, but I'm telling you that subjectively. That may be exactly what you're looking for. And it does lower gain stuff. I just don't think it has as interesting a sound at the lower gain stuff. Let me turn the treble up to like 1 o'clock for that. It's got a kind of a big honkin' 800 hertz thing there, and the mids and treble pots don't really control it. It's just kind of baked in. So, like I said, some guys are going to love that. It's just skewing a little towards the Boston and Satriani thing instead of the true Marshall thing. And if I'm sure, since that's what it does, that's what Paul Rivera wanted it to do. This is not a criticism, just an observation. The clean channel, I think you've got to have the treble, the treble boost engaged, the bright switch engaged, to get a fairly usable Fender-ish sound. And I don't like it as a matter of design when you have to have push-pull pots pulled to get the sound you're going to use 90% of the time, because that's how knobs get sheared off in transit, with all the knobs being out when the amp is moved and they're no longer in the little protected zone offered by the chassis, the cabinet. But, I famously digress. Let me put this up and share this with the owner. And in the meantime, before I talk to the owner, I will find out about the replaceability of that pot there, because that's what's holding this amp back from being good as or better than new.